Okay guys, welcome back. And funny story, I had this whole lecture recorded, or so I thought I did, on Friday, and I was gonna post it, and it wasn't there, I wasn't able to upload, so here I am kind of trying to catch up with where I wanted to be for you guys today. And the plan is really simple. We're about halfway through the notes. By the end of this lecture, we'll be about 2/3, and I'm thinking we will have some type of assessment over this material by Friday. Okay, I got a little activity maybe for tomorrow. Finish some notes on Wednesday, a little review on Thursday, and then probably some type of exam on Friday. So it'll be your first one. Okay. But let's jump into the notes for a little bit so we can keep pushing forward. I did post all of these as a classroom assignment, or they're going to post as a classroom assignment shortly, so you have them. Please keep checking that stream every day, because this is where I'm going to post the lectures. I think it's important that, you know, if this is the interaction we get, that you are watching along and kind of following along with your notes, or just watching the video and watching me and then going back and looking at your notes. So we finished off with Texas looking to become a state, but we know the issue is slavery. You know, they just beat up on Santa Ana, they pushed them back into Mexico, and now they are simply going to be their own little independent nation for now. Okay, we are at the bottom of page 4 in your notes, and we get to the election of 1844. There's a word here called nationalism, and what nationalism is it's kind of a love of your country. This goes right in with manifest destiny, right? We want to settle from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Well, we want more for our country. That's the concept behind it, okay? So you've got a couple of guys here. First of all, we've got a man by the name of Henry Clay, who we didn't really get to talk about at all, obviously, but this guy has been in politics forever. He's what we call a lifer. He has represented Kentucky for a long time. He is a single man who enjoys the social life, but he is also a strong politician. So he's going to represent what's known as the Whig Party at this time. And then we've got a man by the name of James Polk out of Tennessee, who's going to represent the Democrats. Notice there are no Republicans yet, okay? That will come along later on when we get to Abraham Lincoln, you know, in a couple of modules down the road from here. So we've got James Polk going up against Henry Clay, and Polk wants to add 2 states to the Union, okay? He is looking to continue to grow. This is his platform, okay, when he's running for president, and he wants to annex, which means make them a part of the United States, okay? He also wanted that 54-40 or fight line that we were talking about, okay, and this was his campaign slogan. So we're at the top of page 5 on your notes. Okay, this was his campaign slogan. He wanted that line way up here. Okay, England has control of this territory, and the one thing we really don't want is another war with England. Okay, we will actually have fought them twice by now. Revolutionary War, which I'm sure you've heard about, and then the War of 1812, which took place in 1812. You got it. So we have this territory that's being disputed, but we don't want to fight England over it. Okay, James Polk wins the election. This is just kind of a breakdown of the states and where people can vote. Clearly, we're in election year, and when you look at the map in November for the upcoming election, you'll see the entire country with the states colored red or blue. Okay, but James K. Polk is going to win, and we've got an issue going on in Oregon, though. Okay, we've got to settle this deal with England. President Polk comes in and says, "This is what it's going to be." Okay, he knows England has kind of lost their power and control globally across the world, and he thinks he can capitalize on that. All right, the British say, how about we make it the 44 line? So we've got 54, we've got 44, where are we going to end up? Okay, and Britain knows they can't fight. Okay, they have a potato famine going on in Ireland, and they control Ireland at this time, and the people in Ireland are revolting against the British government. So they can't be fighting 2 wars across an ocean, and they need to figure something out, okay? U.S. is also focusing more on Mexico. We talked about Santa Ana. We talked about how he went into Texas and then how the Texans defeated him. And now the United States is looking to gain more territory from Mexico. We've got the issue of California and Arizona and New Mexico. So we're really not too concerned up here as well, okay? So we peacefully come to a solution. What a great concept. we compromise, we don't go to war, and we mutually agree to make a border that we have with Canada today, okay? That is the border, the northern border of of Washington, and then Canada. So we gather some more territory, manifest destiny, and we do it without firing a single shot, okay? Then we get into Texas annexation. So here's the big deal. Texas, massive state, okay? Some of you may think Texas is the biggest state in the Union. It is not. The biggest state is actually Alaska. Alaska is huge. You just see it as a little tiny thing on a map. But Texas is our second biggest state, right? And we are looking to add this territory to our country, okay? We want to add it. Presidents have tried, but what's the issue? All of you should know the issue by now. It's slavery. Does it come in as a slave state? Does it come in as a free state? What's going to happen politically? And they can't get the necessary votes to ratify Texas as a state. So it's a deadlock, okay? Texas is kind of just sitting there in limbo as their own independent nation, and they're not really sure what's going to happen. Many northern senators obviously didn't want it coming in as a slave state. Clearly, the Southern Democrats did want to come in as a slave state because it's all about political power, okay? That word can dictate what type of law might be made, and Texas was a huge issue. Polk wants to add Texas, so he goes around the Senate and just makes a law. He says, we're gonna make a law and make Texas a state. So this is a sneaky way of getting Texas into the Union for now, and it works, okay? All you needed was a simple majority. You don't need 2/3, which means you need 51% instead of 66%, and he easily gets that with all of the Democrats that are in the House of Representatives and the Senate, okay? The bill passes, Texas becomes a state. This is kind of what it looks like. It's about what the shape is today, with a little bit more over there. And clearly Mexico is irate because they still believe Texas is theirs. There's a dispute over the border, who gets what, and this is gonna cause some more tension with Mexico. We are not done with them yet, even though we defeated Santa Anna at San Jacinto, which was a battle, right? We defeat him there, and we ship him back to Mexico, and we even thought he was gonna get overthrown, and he actually comes back into power. We're not done with him, okay? So we get into what's known as the Mexican War. But there's a big difference with this war, okay? The big difference is the United States of America. The entire country, the full force of our military is going to be involved in this war. So here's the deal, okay? When you look at this, and we are at the top of page 6, this is kind of where we're getting in and what we're probably gonna finish up with. When you look at this, we've got the US, notice Iowa and Missouri up here, and you can always expand your screen a little bit if you're watching on a phone. I guess if you might be able to magnify if you're on a computer screen. I never thought of that. But when you look here, we have a dispute with Mexico over where the border is, and it's really simple, okay? And this was a question in one of your modules. We always thought it was the Rio Grande. So look at this dotted line, where my finger's tracing. We figured that was the agreed upon border. When we sent a message to Mexico, they said, the border is way up here. So Mexico thought it was a border. So we have this land where my hand is that is in dispute. And if that land is in dispute, there's only 2 or 3 ways to solve this. 1, we can let it be. 2, we can go to war with it. We can go to war over it. Or 3, we can come to some type of compromise like we did with England when it comes to the Oregon Territory. So we gotta find out who was right. And Mexico clearly believed the Nueces River. That's what they believed was in the treaty that was signed. That's what they believed was supposed to be the border. And they're a little upset because they're kind of getting beat up. You know, the United States has kind of come in and bullied them a little bit, but we defeated Santa Anna, and now we're looking for more, aren't we? So Polk basically comes in and says, I have an idea. We'll give you $25 million. I want you to think about that amount of money today, and then think what it was worth back in 1846. We're gonna give you $25 million for that land between the 2 rivers, and we also want California territory, which is like California, Nevada, Arizona, that area. 25 million is a huge amount of money. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars in today's money back then. And this is kind of where we're at. And Mexico says no. So we're not going to leave it be. They're not really willing to compromise with us or accept a very generous offer. It's a huge offer of money where Mexico could, kind of rebuild their economy perhaps and get a stronger military. So we're going to send our military in. So Polk calls on this guy, Zachary Taylor. So get to know this guy. Zach Taylor is one of our best generals that we have in the United States military. And he basically says, I got an idea. I want you to go down with about, we'll just say a couple thousand soldiers, and I want you to set up a camp and create a little fort on the Rio Grande River. I want you guys to be loud. I want you guys to play patriotic music. I want you to have campfires and sing songs. And I want American flags everywhere so that the Mexican army and the people within that territory who think it's Mexico's see it. All right? Clearly Mexico was upset. Santa Anna sends his men to attack, and it's not a bunch of Texas, settlers and other people like in the war for Texas independence. This is the U.S. military, and they are going to crush Mexico. Down here on the bottom, if you can't read it, we lose 14 soldiers in this battle. This entire battle with Mexico. Mexico is overrun, outmatched, and they were the ones who instigated the fight, so now we're going to take it to them. President Polk says this is really simple. I want to go to war with Mexico. I want to march my soldiers into Mexico City. I want to have a parade of American flags and American soldiers in Mexico, and I want to go to war. And Congress is okay with it. Why? Because Mexico had attacked first. It was a first strike. Congress votes yes. There's a little bit of opposition from New England, so up in Massachusetts, but they had the overwhelming votes. Even a man by the name of Abraham Lincoln, who you'll get to know about a lot in the coming weeks, had some reservations about the war, didn't really think it was necessary, and they go to war. We're going to finish there for today, and tomorrow we're going to pick up with what's known as the Bear Flag Revolt, which was in California. So the United States is really starting to take shape. Please keep checking your stream every day for these lectures. Please keep doing your work. I know I turned back work to the majority of you, and for the most part, everyone's doing well, but if you have questions, please reach out to me. Email, Google Hangout is by far the easiest way for us to communicate if you have the ability to do that. And if you have any questions, please make sure that you get back with me, okay? Have a good one. See you later. Bye.